Welcome back, you lovely people. Today, of course, we're going to spend our time focusing in on the Bitcoin dip, the dip that we thought was finished, and as it's proven that that's not the case. We're still in the middle of a decent correction. And I want to start with this picture, which Craig Wonk calls the Bitcoin Media Guide. And I'd also call it the story that many people tell themselves in their own minds when they are new to Bitcoin. Every time we go up and we make a new all-time high, then surely the price can't go up anymore, it's in a bubble, time to sell. And every time there's a day like today, then this time is different. They finally killed it. Janet Yellen did her job. We need to panic and sell. And it's really, really important that we start to understand how this narrative works and that we make sure that we're not caught on the wrong side of it. What's the wrong side of it? That is selling on a day like today is the only real mistake that you can make, other than not being in Bitcoin in the first place, of course. So let's go and have a look at the price. And today we're trading at $31,000, down currently 12%. Let's try and focus in on what's happening. You probably recall that we've had our trend line in here for a while now, which looks something like this. And of course that trend line is now broken. So we're taking that out. Is that something that we need to concern ourselves with? Well, no, that was a local trend line that we were using for guidance. Just because we've broken a local trend line doesn't mean that we need to panic. It doesn't mean that it's over. During the course of a bull cycle, there'll be many steep lines that we draw in as we are going up quickly in price. And then as we start to consolidate, they'll be broken. We are restoring energy for the next leg up, and that's certainly what's happening at the moment. So what levels are we focused in on next? Well, you will have noticed that we've got our diagonal lines that have been going back for quite a while, and these are created by having a primary trend line at the bottom, which is connecting all the points at the bottom. We broke it once, but that was during the big pandemic sell-off that impacted all investments. And if that hadn't have happened the way it happened, which was really a once in a blue moon event, then I expect that we would never have broken that and we would have bounced off the bottom. But that trend line has treated us really, really well. You can see that I've then cloned it at the same angle. And each one of them has worked on various touch points and served as a really, really nice guide. So at the moment, we're focusing on the top one, and we created that by taking the 2017 peak. And I've added in a second version. One of them is connecting the tops of the candles, so the close, and one of them is connecting the top of the wick, so the highest price that it went to on that day. Neither one is necessarily right or wrong. They just provide us with a nice bit of guidance. And you can see on the 1-day view, we're coming right into the bottom one at the moment. If I go down to the 8-hour view, you can actually see that we're into the bottom one. During the previous sell-off, we went into the top one. During the sell-off before that, we went into the bottom one. So it's this area really that the market is paying attention to. And I'll put a rectangular box here. This is the area that we are watching, and we're right there at the moment. If Bitcoin bounces off of here, then we would be looking for us to come back into this local trend line that we have here, and perhaps bounce down again and then through, potentially. Or we come to the downside. If that's the case, then we're looking at this next trend line here, which is currently in at $29,000. And if we break that into the next one at $25,000, at the moment, I'd say it's 50-50. whether we go up or down from here. And the market will show us in due course. Am I worried if we break this rectangle that we've just drawn in? Well, let's have a look. At the moment, we're down 25%. And if we come down into the next line, we'll be down 31%. And if we come down into here, we'll be down 42% or so. Well, I want to really focus your attention on this chart here. We covered it yesterday, and sometimes I will repeat, but that's because it's really, really important. We are still a long, long way from the cycle peak. Since the halving, it's been 250, probably 260 days by now. And the cycle peak in 2013 was 372 days, and the last one was 526 days. So whichever one you take, or if you take an average of the two, we are still a long, long way. You can see that the price action is following the two charts really nicely, even on the red line, which was the last cycle. Right around now, we had a sell-off. And that looks almost identical to what is happening today. And you can see even on the cycle before, we had a sell-off, what is that, about 30 days before in relative terms. So still everything is lining up perfectly well, and we are very, very comfortable with what is happening here. Is there a point which I get concerned that Bitcoin is broken and we've got this all wrong? In the last cycle, we had a drawdown of 40%. And we said, even if we come into this line down here, it's 42%. So even down into $24,000, I'm feeling very, very comfortable with. I don't expect that we'll go down that far. I think it's either here or where we're at now or $29,000, but let's see, time will tell. I responded to this message today on Instagram. It was in response to this picture, which again is another really important picture. On the last cycle, we had regular pullbacks of 38%. Right now, we're not even at 30%. So very, very normal price action for Bitcoin. And you can see all you need to do is to hold. If you hold, and of course that's easier said than done. Even people that I know have been watching my videos and my Instagram are messaging me today in a panic. It takes practice, it takes some mental training, and that's why I'm covering this so regularly during this dip, because when the next one happens, then you'll be fully prepared. So that's talking about not selling. Should you be buying today? Well, I received this message saying, do you think it's worth investing today, or do we wait for it to drop further? And I think my response is really important for a lot of people to understand, because there's a lot of people who say that they're going to buy the dip. By the way, I don't think that's the best strategy. I think the best strategy is to be buying as soon as possible and holding. But that being said, if you are waiting to buy the dip, then make sure that you buy the dip. Otherwise, you have completely missed out. And this person, thank you for the message. I said to them, we're down 24%. You're getting a great deal. Imagine walking into a shop and your favorite item is a quarter off. I said, do you want to try and eke out a few more percentage points when we're going up 900% from here? So imagine trying to wait until we get to minus 30% or minus 35% and you miss it. And then in a couple of weeks, we've gone up to $75,000. That is something that you will kick yourself for. So if you are looking at this today, with funds on the sidelines ready to go, but you are worried that you see it down 11% and that it might drop more. Yes, of course it might, but it also may explode out of here. So my advice to this person was not to wait. Also on my Instagram today, I did a thread about why Bitcoin is the ultimate store of value. Very important concepts to learn. Of course, we all want to invest to see our portfolio go up, but actually when you start to understand the underlying reasons why Bitcoin is so special and so valuable, then you get even more excited and more engaged in what's going on. If you do head over to my Instagram, I've saved all of the threads that I've been making on these highlights here. So this is a very, very useful way of catching up on some really important points. Talked about inflation and how it relates to Bitcoin, how to structure your crypto portfolio. This one is relevant today, whether to sell or buy on days like today. I created a Bitcoin retirement strategy, which I think was the best thread that I've done. Again, should I sell on a down day? An overview of altcoins. These two are absolutely required viewing for everybody. This is my target for dates of the cycle peak and price at the cycle peak. I will be continuing to refine these as we move towards that date and price, but definitely go and catch up on those. Why does Bitcoin go up? Why does Bitcoin crash? Is it too late to buy Bitcoin? What are the biggest risks? Where to buy Bitcoin, when to buy Bitcoin, and a few others. So they are very, very valuable bits of very, very valuable resources. Please go check them out. And just remember, days like today absolutely need to happen. We are still consolidating beautifully, and we are doing that before we take the next leg up to $75,000. I'll talk to you tomorrow.